Hello and welcome today to Marketing Monday session on a super interesting topic that is what's top on the mind for CMOs in 2023. I am Naveen Chandra, Chief Experience Officer, Tech Plus Media CXOTVnews, and your host for today. So before I introduce you to our esteemed guest, let me just set the context for the discussion. The past 2 years have been unforgiving to the brands that didn't or were unable to adapt to drastic changes in the way they do business. In 2023, marketers continue to face challenges, including economic uncertainty, a focus on customer privacy, changing consumer spending behaviors, budget cuts, and shrinking workforce. So, what are the top priorities for CMOs in 2023? Amid a number of challenges, let's take the look at the top priorities of B2B CMOs in 2023 and what they are doing to rise to the challenges. Please welcome our eminent guest, Ms. Runa Tripathi, Global Business and Development and Marketing Head, Locuz, and Head of Marketing, CMOS, who is uniquely positioned to take us through how marketing leaders are prioritizing their investment and devising strategies for the year ahead. Join us. We get into a discussion on how marketing leaders are driving their business in the coming year and beyond. Hi, Ruma. Welcome to CXOTV for an insightful discussion. We would request you to introduce yourself and we shall take up this very interesting topic. What is in the top of the mind for PMOs in the coming year 2023?
Sure. Thanks. Thanks so much, Naveen. Firstly, I would like to thank Naveen and CXO TV for having me for their amazing Marketing Monday series. Thank you so much for giving me the honor and privilege to be part of your series. Introduction about myself, right? I am Runa Tripathi, and I have about 16 and a half years of experience in the digital marketing space. I started my career with Google, Hyderabad office, and I worked there for about a decade. And from there on, I moved and joined Locuz. It's been about 5.5 years now with Locuz. And my entire kind of portfolio of work has been around digital marketing. And joining Locus, I kind of explored and understood the partner marketing world, offline marketing. So now I have a more rounded portfolio where I have experience, a decade experience of digital marketing combined with partner and offline marketing of 5.5 years. So yeah, that's about me, Naveen.
So that's a great experience. I'm sure people listening to this video, people watching this video will get a lot of insight. So we request you to throw some light on what's one key trend B2B marketers need to prioritize in coming year.
Yeah, so Naveen, I think you said the context right when you started the introduction for this series, right? As we look look ahead in 2023, it's really going to be awkward if we do not address the elephant, the economic elephant, the recession, right? That's kind of looming large in front of us. And when downturns are on the horizon, it's vital for like marketing and as well as sales organizations to kind of streamline their budgets to kind of create marketing strategies that will help them weather the storm, right? So of course there's no silver bullet right away, but I think one of the key things B2B marketeers today can kind of prioritize for themselves is making a shift from a lead generation model to a demand generation model. That's going to be super critical. We need to accept that due to the recession, the budgets are going to be tighter across all fronts. Customers are going to look and consolidate everything for themselves. So for CMOs who have not yet made that shift from a lead generation model to a demand generation model, it's going to be extremely challenging in 2023 because just kind of casting your net, demand generation helps you kind of cast a wider net for yourself. So the key takeaway, I think, for all CMOs or priority for all CMOs in 2023 is this focusing on this critical shift of from lead generation to demand generation.
Oh, that's great. So, Ruma, you talked about the demand generation and lead generation, and people do confuse between the two. So, what is the difference between demand generation and lead generation?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Just to kind of throw some light on it, I'm sure a lot of marketing leaders are aware of it, but just for the larger audience, let's address this. I know marketing leaders might feel that the debate around lead generation and demand generation has been kind of exhausted. But unfortunately, I do still see a lot of leaders or people in marketing continuing to run with the old lead generation playbook. And rightly so, because demand generation as a model is still in its infancy. There are a lot of unknowns. There are still no strict operating guidelines like we have for the lead generation campaigns that we run. So I think that's one big reason a lot of marketeers today are hesitant to kind of dive deep into the demand generation model. But coming to what the difference between the two, I think, as the name suggests, right, the demand generation is where you are kind of creating a demand for your own brand, for your services, for your solutions, whatever be that you're marketing. Whereas in lead generation, you are directly kind of diving into the market and trying to pick up leads for yourself. So in demand generation, you kind of make your prospects or your customers aware of their industry problems or challenges. Many times they might know, many times they might not. Lead generation kind of completely skips that. They start with the assumption that okay, this is the problem and this is how I'm going to solve it. So the first outreach they make, they kind of offer a solution to that identified assumed problem that we have. Whereas in demand generation, you kind of create awareness around the problem. You kind of engage with your audience to kind of identify potential solutions to that problem, resonate with your audience with that problem, and then kind of go into making your pitch. So that's one key difference between demand as well as lead generation. In demand generation, it is because you are creating a lot of awareness. You are kind of mm, discussing or debating with your audience on the problem that you are proposing. So there has to be a lot of brand authority that needs to be established when you're doing a demand generation model, because only then will your audience listen to you or kind of trust you on the matter that you're talking about. Whereas, as I mentioned, in lead generation, you will just pitch your solution, pitch the benefits of your solution, and start from there. Correct. So that's another kind of key differentiation between demand and lead generation. You kind of, in demand generation, you need to engage with a wider audience rather than pre-selected audience in the lead generation model. Here, in the lead generation, you start with the as you say, like the audience profile or the persona. You start there and you kind of directly dig into engaging with just that subset that you have identified for yourself, which is not true for demand generation. You need to engage with audience in the entire kind of a buying cycle, because buying cycle is not linear, and we have a kind of addressed and acknowledged that quite a few years. So there are people who will go from like researching to kind of looking at reviews to kind of seek talking to you to kind of gauge your understanding or expertise on that matter. And somewhere along this journey will the buying cycle for different customers fall. It is not like you start here, which is the case in lead generation, and you end here at the end point. That's not how it is for demand generation. So you need to engage and kind of interact with a wider audience. So I think those would be the key differentiators, in my opinion, between demand as well as lead generation, Naveen.
So we can, very well assume that during the lead generation, we approach to the customers, and while generating the demand, customers approach us. That
Yes. Yes.
we
You
need your
leave a
product.
lot of, yeah, in one generation, you leave a lot of hooks along the journey of the customer buying cycle, right? You will leave a lot of hooks and be open to your customer engaging with you at any or many of these points.
Yeah. So we also see a decline in direct selling. So, what can B2B marketers do to not fall into the direct selling trap?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you there, Naveen, that direct selling isn't the norm anymore. People do not kind of trust you when you start your kind of sales pitch with, "Hey, I am XYZ, and this is how I can help you, or this is my solution, or this is the service I want to offer to you. Are you interested?" They're not going to trust you. That's where you kind of lose the interest of your prospect. Buyers today are placing a lot of their trust in a lot of indirect sources of the buying cycle, right? So they will trust a lot of these reviews, a lot of these rating sites, a lot of, say, customer testimonials, etc., before they kind of make their purchase decision. They do not like to be told that, okay, this is how and this is why you should do something. So B2B marketers today need to prioritize in building and maintaining an extremely strong kind of a relationship with these indirect sources. And indirect sources can be many, Naveen, right? Starting from engaging with your audience on social media platforms, kind of making your presence felt, and on all of these reviews and rating sites like G2G, Captera, and all of these places are there, where a lot of consumers go and read up about yourself, right? It could be the videos that you kind of lay across strategically in your content marketing strategy. So they need to strengthen their presence. They need to kind of create a strong relationship with these indirect sources, and that kind of ties back to the demand generation, creating varied kind of hooks in different places. So that's where I think it is going to be very, very pertinent. The emphasis for B2B marketers has to be on delivering value to their buyers in a frictionless, seamless kind of way, in places that they want to consume that value, right? You cannot predictate where they should consume this. So that is why the indirect selling model is becoming more and more kind of catchy and resonating with our audience today.
So you have talked about content, whether it is print or video, something like that. Do you really think is content still the king?
Oh, of course. Content is was the king, is the king, and it's going to remain the king and queen and prince, princess, everything for marketing. But I think what's interesting, and I've observed it not just a trend for 2023, but something that has happened in the past also, is that we need to diversify our content. We need to identify these different indirect platforms where we can spread our content, right, and spread our brand authority on those places. So today, as B2B marketers group, we know we are really, really good at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is in fact the cash cow for a lot of B2B marketers today, right? Everybody is there, everything is happening on LinkedIn. But after LinkedIn, what's next? Correct? Where do you go? Or everybody has about diversifying content, right? Everybody has created blogs, everybody has created videos, everybody has kind of put up white papers, webinars, like all of this gamut of content that we have. But what more? And that can be a very challenging question to answer, because we have kind of exhausted a lot of content formats today. But so I've seen, and I have done this in my kind of work experience also, is you kind of go back to that same kind of content, like this interview or this discussion that we have. So earlier what we would do is we would completely share the end-to-end kind of product, and assume that our marketers will our audience will consume this 30-35 minutes of content on video format just because it is video. But what I've seen work for me is kind of breaking down this content into short snippets of knowledge, where we just take a snippet of one question and share it with our audience. So that's one way of diversifying your content. Another way to kind of look at do your content is do a lot of these chat shows, fireside kind of discussions, and promote that as content for you to establish thought leadership. I'm sure CXOTV itself is doing that with their Marketing Monday series, right?
Absolutely.
So that's something very, very important. And another very interesting thing that I have read and seen about, not yet practiced myself, is TikTok. Right? When I said apart from LinkedIn, what else? So TikTok, like we would assume that it's more of a B2C kind of a platform, but I'm seeing a lot of some of B2B marketeers also using it. I don't know how to. I want to learn how to do it, but they're seeing success with it, right? And but the thing is, we don't. A lot of marketeers are also like me, are hesitating to adopt to it because we are not still certain on the value of it, because we don't know. There is not a lot many people who have done it. Uh, but in the coming years, all of this is going to evolve. There will be a lot more kind of certainty. There will be a lot of guidance, a lot of resources. A lot many people would have done it over the coming years. So we will have a group that we can bounce off ideas with. So it's important. While content is kind of still the king, reigning king and queen and everything else, it's relevant and imperative for us to diversify our content and to kind of identify alternate or platforms where we can publish our content to get to kind of uh, track the attention of our customers.
Okay. And you have talked about some challenges. So let me just give you a challenging question. How do you continue to drive growth for your business in 2023 through marketing? And this answer will answer a lot of questions in, a lot of marketing leaders.
To be very honest, for marketing, I genuinely believe that there is no kind of a Bible or Quran or Gita or whatever that will tell you this is what you need to do to succeed. There isn't a playbook like that for marketers, luckily or unluckily. So we have to try and test a lot of strategies and fail at some of them, succeed at some of them, and then kind of make a holistic plan, and which might work this year and might not the next year. So what I've learned from the past is while we have, if over the years all marketeers will identify what's working for them, what's not working for them, right? So while we know what's working for them, we shouldn't continue to kind of do them just because it has worked for us in the past, right? We are very good at creating processes. We are good at making them scalable and repeatable, because we usually work with larger teams with different kind of BUs that we need to collaborate with. So we need to create processes which are scalable and which are repeatable. But I think what I personally do, and which I think is something that can help in stacking growth for you, is to iterate your processes, even if they are working, and not just look at your processes when they are not working. So you need to iterate, you need to look at your processes, identify that, okay, what else can you do? How else can you improve what's already working? So that's something that if marketeers consistently focus on, that's going to stack up growth in 2023. There is no like, okay, do social and you will succeed, do demand generation. That's not what I'm going to go with. But I would say that, okay, we need to iterate our processes. We need to unlock new channels for ourselves. How do we create initiatives to help us keep growing and keep relooking that? Because I think the key learning is you can do something really, really well, but everything that's great has a point of diminishing returns. So it's going to stop working for you. So if you are not iterating your processes, then growth is going to be elusive for all marketers.
So you have actually given a great insight. And to conclude, my last question is that in 5 years in your organization, what would be your biggest achievement?
But that that takes me down that entire. As I said in my introduction, I'll kind of start with a little bit of a background, Naveen, here, because that's where a lot of my learnings are from. Joining Locuz has been a changing point for me in my career, to be very honest. Naveen, everybody would think that, okay, I have worked with Google, so that's where my kind of successes would be driven from. But I think while working 10 and a half years at Google, I had exhausted almost all non-technical processes that were there available to me. But the learning was all around that one small piece of the puzzle of marketing, which is AdWords, Google AdWords, right? Which is a paid SEM. So around that time, I was also doing, like, around the last couple of years at Google, I was also doing this. I was taking trainings for a lot of people for Manipal University who wanted to learn digital marketing. And while I was taking that training, I realized that I'm so limited in my experience when there is so many things that are that one can do in digital marketing. I'm stuck with knowledge on just one piece. So that's where I kind of transitioned my career and moved and joined Locuz. What Locuz gave me is this canvas, this great canvas where I could paint my own digital marketing story. And for Locuz, at the time that I joined them, marketing was done in pockets, just as partner marketing initiatives. While I won't be discussing a lot of numbers, but from there, when I joined Locuz till now, we have made like tremendous success in our social branding. We started with about like 700, 800 followers, most of them being employees of the organization. To now, we are standing at a 24,000,
Wow.
24,000 followers for Locuz&Cymune together. And honestly, a lot of our customers proactively have followed us as a channel on their social media. And a lot of times, my salespeople kind of go and have conversations with our existing or our potential customers. They do mention that, oh, hey, I remember I saw something about you guys on LinkedIn. So that's such a huge testimony for a marketer to say that, okay, my strategy is working. It's resonating with my customers. At least I'm being noticed. I'm getting the eyeballs that I wanted from my customers. So social is a huge achievement that I could get. And for B2B marketing, in the last 4 to 5 years, digital as well as the social platform has become very, very important. And I'm happy we could, as Locuz&Cymune, we could kind of leverage that for ourselves. So that's one key achievement. I think we spoke about demand and lead generation. When I started at Locuz, I made the mistake, or that was the right time for lead generation. So I started there. And I failed miserably, honestly. I failed miserably on that. Lead generation did not work for us. So we shifted gears and we kind of tested some organically. It wasn't like a thought strategy that, okay, hey, now I'm making a shift to demand generation. So it came very organically when we were thinking, what else can we do? And with inputs from all of my mentors and leaders at Locuz, we kind of very smoothly made a shift to a demand generation marketing strategy. And today, I'm very happy to say that I have a inside sales kind of a team, which is extremely capable, and we are seen as a great contributor to the sales funnel. So while not discussing the numbers, I think we are considered, like, all of these practice teams that we have of cloud, data, cybersecurity, HPC, some of these offerings that we do at Locuz&Cymune, all of them come back to us with like, hey, what's going to be your strategy for my business? How are you going to drive my business this year? So that's, again, it feels great, and it feels like, okay, I'm doing something right. So that mind share of marketing in the sales leaders is a huge achievement that I think I have personally achieved. So yeah, these are some of the great learnings plus achievements that I see for me and my team at Locuz.
And thank you very much. I'm sure people will be really fond of the interview. And thank you, everyone. Catch me live in the next episode of Marketing Mondays by CXO TV, where we will be discussing relevant and interesting topics like this. See you there.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.